Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome back to Le Channel. It is I. Right, let's just get things set up. Let's track IR. Okay, folks. Welcome to the channel. Let's just get let's just get things set up now. I'm going to put the YouTube comments on my phone so that I can see what you guys are saying. And my channel. Okay, so I was streaming yesterday, and I was streaming for over 4 hours. I was doing a flight from Melbourne to Alice Springs in Australia, and that flight I said I was going to put on YouTube, like this video, but unfortunately something went wrong with it, which meant unfortunately that I wasn't able to release it to YouTube as a normal video. And another point is, of course, that if a YouTube video is longer than, if a YouTube live stream is longer than 4 hours, it starts to cut off the beginning of the video. So actually you never see any of the beginning of the video anyway. So I thought I won't release it as a normal video on the YouTube channel. But here is what VATSIM looks like from the Project Fly client. There's a lot of stuff going on in America at the moment. That's quite nice. But then again, it is Saturday evening. And also there's a big event going on up in Finland. There's like a Christmas fly-in to Santa's grotto type thing that happens every year, and that's happening right now. And it just so means that there is an abnormal amount of Eastern European and Scandinavian ATC on. So what I was thinking of doing, I was thinking of flying from Riga in Latvia over to Stockholm. Nice short flight. Nothing huge, and I've chose this shorter flight because I wanted to keep it short. I'd like to try, ideally, to keep the stream within an hour to an hour and a half. That might not happen, but you never know. Let's see what we can do. So we're going to be flying. I've chosen to fly the PMDG DC-6. Scandinavian livery. So we're flying a Scandinavian flight, SAS flight, in the DC-6. These are the two DC-6 Scandinavian flights I've done so far for Project Fly. That was the, if you remember the live stream I did previously with the DC-6, it was this flight here you can see on the screen from Copenhagen up to Gardermoen. And then I recently did one from Gardermoen over to Bergen. So today we're going to be doing Riga to Stockholm. So let's just get set up. This is going to be a little different from a normal YouTube video in that you see absolutely everything. You see my flight planning phase. Most YouTube videos, I just start the YouTube video on the ramp, ready to go, as if whenever I've already set up and everything. So let's just go down to the DC-6 for SAS, Scandinavian Airlines System. There it is, and let's just go Riga, like so, Riga International, there we go. And let's choose gate 109, let's say. Let's just bring up the Navgraph chart so that we can see what's going on. Not now. What time zone is Riga? What time is it in Riga? Not Rio, Riga. 22, 21, 20, that's 10. So it's 2 hours ahead of us. It's 2 hours ahead of GMT, so it's actually 10:06 right now. So if I go to, this is generally the way I do it in P3D. If I go here, I just click 1, 2, and then go. And that usually sets me to the right time, and then I use the FS Real-Time app to properly sync up and keep that properly refreshed. Let's see, stream is offline. Is that correct? Really? Is it though? Is it? Is it? No, okay. It's this one. Whoop. Right. Evening, Peter. What are we doing tonight? Yeah. Yep, okay, so my audio's good. Yeah, Max, I don't know if you just heard, but we're going to be doing Riga to Stockholm on VATSIM in the PMDG DC-6. So anyone, of course, who is here this evening, we've got 5 people watching, anyone is free to come and join me, of course, if you want to do a little group flight. I know recently I have mentioned about doing a shared cockpit -8 flight, but currently no one's really around at the moment to do the a shared cockpit flight, so I'm just going to go on my own initiative here and do my own thing. Okay, so I've logged into Plan G. Let's just get that set. Whoa. Audio. Let's just turn down the sound effects for the moment, and let's just put ourselves on cold and dark for the moment, just until we can, just so we can hear ourselves think. Right, so that's interesting. The weather seems to have... No, okay, right, just loaded in. I was just about to say, I looked up in the sky, I was like, that's cool, the weather's cleared up a lot, because I read the ATIS report for Riga about an hour and a half ago, and it was really awful weather, which is kind of part of the reason why I wanted to fly here. Look, overcast, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. And so there we go. Now that we've loaded in, let's hit connect on FS real time and set to now. And of course, because it's already, I already properly set it in the updater, then it doesn't really have to reload. And that dynamic lighting is epic. I love it. Look at that glow that you see from the lamppost there. That's nice to see. It's nice to see dynamic lighting done correctly. Some airports, I feel, say that they've done dynamic lighting, but then actually their dynamic lighting, it isn't. It just doesn't work. It looks weird. Right, so let's... DC-6 looks fun. Yep. Good evening, Sevi. Good to see you. Oh, tea. I need it. I need it so badly. So much talking. Sevi, I added you on Skype, by the way, mate. So you can chat to me on Skype if you like. Just send me a message. I won't be doing audio chatting at the moment because I want to focus on because I'm going to be keeping the stream as a video. SAS. Let's just call ourselves 640, just something random, and let's go DC-6B. I think it's a B version. Connect. Bam. Done. Right. We should start to, now that we're online, we should see, yep, there's other aircraft in the area. You can hear them. You can hear them around. Anyway, so that is, let's just pause my track IR for the moment while I do my thing. So from here, we're going to go direct outbound to VNT from Riga, and then from VNT we're going to go over to Visby, good old Visby, and then from Visby we're going to go up. Actually, scratch that. Sorry, Visby, not this evening. We're going to go from VNT directly up to let's say NTL, and then from NTL we'll come in from the east to Stockholm. So that's a really, really simple flight plan. That's only 276 nautical miles. So it says 2 hours, but that's with a target airspeed of 120. So if I change that map data view, how do I change that actually? Let's just see what that looks like when I change it. Let's just connect as well, by the way. Right, so we're connected. Aircraft profile, there we go. If, you know what, that's just going to take too long. That's going to just take too long. I've not got the time to, I've not got the time to mess around with Plan G more than I need to. Okay, so that's a nice load of aircraft in the sim. DHL, what is that? Is that DHL what? DHL 320. Dash 8 Delta, very good. Yeah, that is a Air Baltic Dash 8 Delta. Good stuff. Right. So, let us now go to our chart. It's, what is it? It's Evra. And we're going to go taxi. And we're just going to have a look at a ground chart. There we go. And it was 108, I think it was. I think it's one there, 108 that we spawned on. What does it say? What does it say? Yeah, no, 109. So that's 109, which means we are 108 is there. What 109 is there? Bam. Okay, so we'll probably be given Sierra Foxtrot. Sierra Foxtrot. I'm just thinking ahead here. That's Sierra Foxtrot to hold Golf or Golf 1 or something like that. But that's not. Ooh. Oh, Ryanair. It's a Ryanair inbound, most likely from Stansted. Good to see Project Fly is working in some capacity, if not its full capacity. Oh, through the mist you can see the Dash 8 Delta lining up. That's incorrect model matching, but we are going to pretend that it's correct because, yeah. Right, so what was I going to do? Yes, I was going to file my flight plan on Project Fly. This is bookings. Yeah, we're not going to get this done in an hour. Definitely not. Probably more like an hour and a half or 2 hours, but there we are. Of course, for those of you watching this video on YouTube, the head cam in the bottom left-hand side of the screen is going to be new to you, but that's just something I've added for streaming. But of course, when I save streams as YouTube videos later for people on the channel to watch, you get that as well. I might actually add the no, never mind. Right, select aircraft. We're going to select, let's say, it's going to be, no, it's not going to be that one. It's going to not be a November. It could be a Lima November. Could very easily be a Lima November registration. Just Dash Delta, DC-6. No, that's incorrect. SAS, there we go, never mind. VATSIM, it's going to be on VATSIM. We're going to go Evra to Stockholm is ESA. Yeah, there we go. Scandinavian 610 it was, I think I did. 640. 640, so that's SAS 640, create booking. Like so. So if I zoom in, I should probably be able, yeah, so there I am. Yep. Scandinavian 640. And right next to me apparently is WJA 184. Someone from, as a Boeing 737, someone who is a native of Toronto, actually. I don't see him, though, physically next to me, but that may just be the pilot, again. anyway. Right, dispatch. I'm just going to do this super quick. It's not a massive deal. It's just making a flight plan in Project Fly so that I can save this flight on my Project Fly Evra. So I can save this on Project Fly. VNT NTL ESA. I don't know if putting them in lowercase makes a difference, but there we go. Okay, let's just have a look. 11 people watching the stream. Hello, folks. Welcome to the stream. Let me just make sure the chat is working still. Oh, come on, phone. Work. Thank you. There we go. 13 people watching. Everyone in the stream who's watching, please type in the chat and say hello, just so that I can see who you are and say hello. Ready to depart. Right, minimize that. Bam, good to go. Okay, what I need now is a piece of paper and a pen. And I don't think I should do that on the back of my DVLA right proof of ownership document. That would not be a good idea. I have an old Scudamores payslip here, which I'm going to use, which I was using for the Australian flight yesterday. I think it was, yes, it was yesterday. My goodness, time flies. It's been a long day at work today. Good evening, Joseph. Good evening. How are you? Good to see you. There's another aircraft coming in. Okay, right. So I've got my piece of paper. I've got the aircraft sat on the taxiway, or sorry, the apron. Let us think about boarding and our weights. Let's open some doors for our passengers. Let's start the boarding process. Wheel chocks. Wheel chocks would be a good idea. While we're sat here at least. And it's a little bit laggy. It's a little bit laggy here at the moment. But that's because of the weather and the traffic and the add-ons and PMDG and streaming and etc. etc. So I'm not terribly surprised about that. Let's just make sure that my airstairs is coming down. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so fuel. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with fuel planning. As some of my good friends will know, let's have 68 passengers. Thank you. Let's have some cargo. We don't need 100% fuel. We're not going to try and cross the Atlantic. We probably don't even need 50% fuel, but we're going to go with 50% fuel anyway. Let's just pretend that we're doing this is going to be like a flight where our next destination after Stockholm is doesn't have fuel, so we would be tanking essentially. There's the Ryanair coming in behind us, and to our right hand side is a default A321, because for some reason out of the like 3,500 AI aircraft I have in my library, vPilot can't model match that correctly. Whatever. And he's turning into a lamppost. Well done, Ryanair. Right, okay, but that's probably no worse than what I'm going to be getting up to. Hello, 13 Bump. Is there any interesting story behind the reason that your name is 13 Bump? Please elaborate. Right, okay, we don't want the Bendix King radios. We want clean pedestal, which is going to make us reload. Is it going to make us reload? Oh no, I've got the right one done. Okay. Duh. Right, so my engines all look good. They've got 1.4 hours on the clock. Engine oil quantities are good. Engine anti-ice fluid quantity. We're going to need anti-ice because the ATIS is pretty grim. Right. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start So he's going to start the systems up. If I just look up to the overhead panel, I think I can't see anything. It's pitch black. I need some. Beacon is on. I need the battery. That's what I need. He's going to turn the battery on anyway soon. Right, so if you can hear, I'm going to turn up my desktop audio just a little bit. So my first officer is going to go through the. What is he doing? The first officer is going to go through those checklists. Oh, okay, so everyone's been boarded. He's going to bring in the doors, and that just clipped through the door, but never mind. Okay, so while he's doing that, let's file our flight plan. So we are Evra. We're going to ESA. Time of departure is going to be 2030. I'm going to put 2035. Time en route is going to be. You know what? I'm going to put an hour and a half for this. That is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put hour 30. And I've got plenty of fuel. Like, plenty of fuel. Flight level cruising. I'm going to say let's cruise at 20,000 feet. Let's not go too high. Target airspeed 200. That's pretty standard. Flying. PMDG DC-6. No GPS. VOR. And NDB navigation and vectors. Right, that should be good. Right, let's go Evra ESA. Bam. That's going to give them something to think about. Right. I need some cockpit illumination, please. Oh, I know where that comes from. That comes from... there we go. Yes, right, that's the floodlight. We'll just do with the floodlight at the moment. Okay, so let's get our frequencies in. Let's listen to the ATIS first, which is 121.7. So let's go to 121.7 on our nav1. 121.7. And have a listen to that.
-1 QNH 1003. Trends temporary weather. Light freezing drizzle. Acknowledge information Foxtrot. Riga arrival departure. ATIS information Foxtrot at 1950. Expect ILS approach. Runway in use 18. Runway surface is damp. Braking action good. Transition level 65. Wind calm. Visibility touchdown zone 2,700 meters. Weather mist. Clouds overcast 200 feet. Temperature -1. Dew point -1. QNH 1003. Trends temporary weather. Light freezing drizzle. Acknowledge information Foxtrot. Riga arrival departure. ATIS information Foxtrot.
Right, okay, so that sounded pretty dire. Let's go Riga ground 118.8. Okay, that's Riga ground. And this is where we will get our IFR clearance and our pushback and taxi. So, not not a really good story behind. Oh, I was hoping for some good banter. Looks like you need a flashlight. Yeah, that's right, Sevi. I've got the dome light or the floodlight on, but it's not terribly.
Sorry, I'm reading you 3x5. Can you say again, please? Conveyor 201. Conveyor 201, stand by push. Other aircraft just pushed. Okay, Roger, standing by, conveyor 201.
Oh, you see how the dynamic
103,
lighting. Check that glow. Right.
Ryder 80 uniform. Thank you very much for listening, Riga. Merry Christmas, bye-bye.
The ATC actually doesn't sound too bad this evening. Okay, right. I do know how to start the engines. I do have the correct taxi. I do have the correct engine startup procedure.
Taxi holding point, we will need to have Foxtrot and Golf.
But then, whenever I try and start all the engines up, I only manage to ever start one, and then all the others don't start. So I'm going to actually do auto start, but I'm going to get my clearance first.
Break conveyor 201 after passing Lufthansa Airbus A320, push start approved. Pushback and startup approved after
Pushback and startup
A320 of
approved.
Lufthansa conveyor
Lufthansa
201.
Anyway, right, let's just double check VATSIM. Okay, so most of the aircraft for that event have kind of cleared off towards Finland by now, leaving the skies a little bit less cluttered for me. For my devious plans. Let's put Tower 118.1 in standby. Okay, 118.1. Right, so let's make our first call to Riga ground. Let's just... Riga ground, good evening, Scandinavian 640.
Scandinavian 640, Riga ground, the message.
He said standby, so...
Lufthansa 626, confirm your taxiing to runway 36, connection 18.
Who was that just taxied past me? That was that AUI 423. As a Boeing 737-800/Q. I don't know what that is. Oh. Oh, did some ATC just go offline? Ah. He said call me back. He said he'd call me back. No, don't open the window. It's cold. Sorry. Do I have a GPU on? Do I have the GPU? Come on. No, I don't. He said standby. He said blah blah blah. I'll call you standby. And I don't understand why he hasn't called me back, so I'm going to call him again. Riga ground, Scandinavian 640, with you.
Scandinavian 640, Riga ground, 225.
Riga ground, Scandinavian 640 requesting IFR clearance to Stockholm with information Foxtrot, QNH 1003.
Scandinavia 640, can you please find the proper flight plan and file the takeoff, give you any stars or something like that?
Currently I'm flying a vintage aircraft. Would it be okay to depart with radar vectors and then fly own navigation?
Scandinavian 640, we need a flight plan. We can't just give you vectors all the way to Atlanta. You need to have a flight plan.
I've just resubmitted flight plan, thanks. I should have seen my flight plan. It says I just submitted it there. Okay, now he's sitting quietly, reading my flight plan, going, "Oh crap!" And that's that Airbus A321 again, taxiing in the other direction. It seems. Ah, VATSIM's always interesting. Ooh, the livery actually works for that one. Nice little Air Baltic 737-700, looks like. And there's some random Ryanair stuck through a building. Always good to see. Yeah, so he's going to, while he's gonna come back to me. Wing illumination, good stuff. Entrance lights. You know what? If there's going to be this much of a delay, I might as well just disconnect from VATSIM and do all of this myself. Choices, choices, choices. Do I just disconnect from VATSIM and just get in the air now? I kind of, it's so tempting. He's not called me back again. I did. If he doesn't call me back in... But there's so much ATC on.
Cruise, flight level 180 range.
Okay. Riga ground, Scandinavian 640. Is my current flight plan acceptable?
The Scandinavian 640 negative is not acceptable. If you want to fly VOR to VOR, you need to fly VOR route with all frequencies you will fly on. That route is not accepted if you're flying without GPS.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. We're doing this manually. Screw it. It is acceptable. They just can't deal with it right now. They've probably just got a lot of other aircraft in the area, which is not normal, but there we go. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about it. Just going to move on, and we're still going to have fun. Okay, let us do the start procedure. Normally, I mean, I know how to start this aircraft. I'm going to hit ready for taxi. So yeah, I know how to start this aircraft. It's just never ever worked for me. As I was saying before, I'm able to start one engine up, no problem at all. But actually, every time I do the same procedure for all other engines, none of the other ones start up. So I've just got to keep trying at it one day. I would say give it a few more minutes because the ATC would be cool without with the vintage aviation. That's what I thought, Savvy, and then he was like blatantly, nope, sorry, it's not going to work. So I guess it's just a really busy night for them. So okay, at the moment. Yeah, at the moment, I don't want to be blinding them in the face with my lights, so I'm just going to keep them shine down at the ground until we've finished our pushback. And that's all good. At least the DC-6 has an altitude hold, which is nice. And that's about as far back as we want to push. Oh, excuse me. And let's just put those lights back on. Like so. And they will flip forwards. Let's just increase. Let's do the after start checklist. Okay, so we're taxiing Lima Foxtrot to hold Golf 1 for runway 18. So you can see there, yep, taxiing Sierra, turning right on Foxtrot for 18. Just look both ways here. And then taxi onto those blue lights. DC-6 is a lovely aircraft. It's very... Oh no, those are not the taxiway lights. They look very much like the taxiway lights, but they're actually the edges. It's quite deceptive because it looks like that would be, but it's not. Yeah, the green lights are the taxiway lights. Okay. 12 people watching, so yeah, so the DC-6, the PMDG DC-6, it's easy to fly when you have the flight engineer enabled, but there's certain things about it which it's just not absolutely clear. The fuel system, when you're flying long haul in the DC-6, the fuel system takes a while to get used to because there's some things that can catch you out. But anyway, right. So from here, I'm going to fly VNT, which is 113.6. So let's get the first VOR in the nav 1 before we take off. That was 113.6. That's COM2. That's COM2. Where, oh, there. Sorry. There it is. That's 113.6, and that's just come. Yep. So my needles. Let's just see what the range on that is. She said that's a big VOR, but the reason why the range is not, the reason why my needle isn't picking it up right now, is because we're on the ground. Once we climb up, we'll be able to see that. And well, let's do 116.3. In nav 2. So we'll be able to track both of them, and I'm slightly coming off the center line, which is stupid me. Okay, so continuing taxi. Hey Peter, are you on VATSIM, and where are you flying to? Moonchild, hello. I'm in Riga, in Latvia. I'm flying a Scandinavian DC-6 from Riga to Stockholm, and I was on VATSIM until they told me that I couldn't fly a DC-6 with no GPS on VATSIM at this point. So I was a bit like, oh, okay, well, I'll just do it offline then. So I'm flying offline currently, which is a bit sad because I've never, actually, this is the first time in all my flight simulation that I've ever been told that I can't, that my flight plan is not acceptable, which is crazy. I've never been told that in my life, that my flight plan is not acceptable. Or I put in VOR, it's like VOR to VOR navigation, yeah? It's not that difficult. All they would need to do is tell me to taxi to the runway, to take off from the runway, then vector me away from the airfield, and then tell me to resume my own navigation. That is literally all they would need to do. Like, yeah. Right, let's stop at the instrument hold line. Let's just double check. I've got my beacon light on. I've got my position set to, I want to set that to flash. And yep, so you can see my nav lights flashing there. And my wing illumination is on, which is, I like wing illumination. It's all about how my aircraft looks when I fly, right? This is flight simulation. So we're about good to go. Let's just double check. Yeah, so strobe is on, beacon's on, seatbelt's on, emergency lights and no smoking is on. So we're going to taxi out onto the active. I'm sure they can't do that if you fly VFR or IFR. Well, yeah, I mean, if I just look at the flight plan that I'd filed, it was Evra to ESA, right? Evra, VNT, NTL, ESA. Like that's my departure airport, a VOR, and the arrival airport. Literally, that's it. And I put in the remarks: flying PMDG DC-6, no GPS, VOR to and NDB navigation and vectors. That was all I said, and the ground controller came back to me and said, no, that's unacceptable. You can't do that. And I was like, all right, fine. But anyway, I'm not going to dwell on it. We've got a nice flight ahead of us. So let's just hold my brakes in, and we're going to do the before takeoff. So our flight engineer, who's sitting behind us, is going to rev up the engines to do an engine check, and he's going to check the cylinders and everything. And then once he's been doing before takeoff, actually. I should have done this before I taxied out of the active, but never mind. Is there terrain that would interfere for your flight plan? No. Perhaps they understood that there was no GPS, no VOR. Well, on my flight plan I put flying... I suppose if he'd read that, he could have read flying DC-6, no GPS or VORs, and no NDB navigation and vectors. But anyway, maybe that's what it is. I'll say that's what he thought, because I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Anyway, it's not too big of a deal. I mean, flying offline isn't always a bad idea. But there we go. Okay. Okay, so he's running through the check still. Right. Actually, let's take off on the wet runway. Okay, so he's going to bring it up to 30 inches manifold, and he's going to run them as a test at 30 inches. And now he's going to set the cowl flaps. Now he's going to put full power in, and then as soon as he's set full power, I'm going to release the brakes. I know that would be silly, but you never know. Sleep deprivation and all. Yeah, exactly. It's easily. Full power set. Good to go. Okay, release brakes, and we're going to wait for 100 knots. Can't even hardly even see the end of the runway here. This is crazy. I love it. The visibility is beautiful. Okay, there's 100 knots. That's V1 V rotate, and we're up. Positive rate, gear up. That's beautiful. And we are IMC. Huh. Well, that wasn't much to see. Okay, coming down to 500 feet per minute. I'm going to bring our flaps in. Flaps up. Okay, trimming. Hello, Eric. We're flying out of Riga in Latvia over to Stockholm in the Scandinavian DC-6. Okay. Climbing through 1,000 feet, and my VORs haven't come online yet. Where are my VORs? I'm going to be double checking 113.6. Yeah, 113.6. It should be there. Okay, I'm going to bring in autopilot on. Okay, autopilot is on. Take my feet off the rudder pedals now. I need to go to bed in 10 minutes time, but thought I'd drop by and troll the chat a bit first. Yeah, thank you very much. It's your prerogative, sir, to do a bit of trolling. That's what you do best. Definitely. Okay, climbing up to 2,000 feet. We are going to make a... Yep, and my VOR has just come in. Right, so my VOR radial is going to be 283. So let's get that set. And let's start making our turn, right-hand turn, like so. And we should start to lose our climb rate in the turn, which you can see there, but not too much actually. And the flight engineer, of course, is holding our manifold pressure, he's holding our RPM, he's managing the engines for us, which is lovely. So we don't really need to worry about that. We're literally just pointing the aircraft where we need it to go, and there we are. Trolling is in my blood. Yeah, well, trolling is your national heritage, Eric. You are a Norwegian. You are a Viking at heart. So trolling is what your ancestors used to do, quite literally. Okay, making that turn, and we're coming around quite quickly, so I'm going to flatten out right now, because this aircraft takes a while to go from its bank state to its flat state, which means that you have to start coming out of the turn before you actually hit that. And yeah, I probably should have given it a little bit more beef there, a little bit more welly. Oh, the bad humor I have. I do apologize that you have been put up. You have to put up with me. That's fine, mate. That's fine, mate. That's no worries. I'm glad you decided to pop in and say hello. We've got that cool exhaust flames on the DC-6 again. Those lovely radial engines. And look how foggy it is out here. It is intensely foggy. I mean, we cannot see a thing. And I blew through that radial, or blew through that heading. Well, that's okay. Climbing up through 4,000 feet. Where is the FMC? It is not here, Eric. I don't appear to have one. Oh, actually, no, here it is. There it is. There's some old switches. It says VHF on them. VHF. You know what to do with that then? I imagine that VHF, the use of VHF today is non-existent in today's aviation. I know the glow of the glow of that beacon light. Check the beacon light out. That's pretty sweet. The DC-6 has lighting like down to a T. Oh, look, we're climbing above the clouds now. Although it's completely pitch black, there's no moon anywhere, so it's pretty dark right now. But I can just see the difference between the cloud layer and the black sky above, so that's cool. Right, so the radial's slowly coming in. Looks like the 737 cockpit, to be honest. Yeah, yeah, pretty much, yeah. Pretty similar. I'd say McDonnell Douglas and Boeing probably sat down and had a chat about how similar they wanted to make this. I mean, it has just about the same amount of buttons and switches. Same amount of engine throttle levers as well. I mean, what is that? That's an eight engined machine. That's got 8. Yeah, you would be mistaken. You would be forgiven for being mistaken that that's 8 engines, but isn't that just a little bit weird? It's like you've got 4 thrust levers here and then 4 thrust levers for the first officer. Like, seriously, couldn't you just like combine them into one? No, we couldn't. No. Okay, that radial's coming in, so let's start our turn. To the left. Still climbing at a nice rate. Climbing through 6,000 feet now. VHF, mate, we use VHF for all radio communication. Exactly. I know, right? It's the bee's knees. VHF is king. There we go. That's not quite the radial, but oh, me and my radials. I know, mate. It's the way things are done. It's the way things are done on this channel. You know, VOR to VOR navigation, old school. That's the way it's done. Let's just flatten out that turn. Okay, so our radial is coming in nicely. Look down there, that's the radial coming in on the right hand side, and you can see we're intercepting that radial with about, what, 10 degrees roughly. So there we are. Yeah, climbing at a nice speed. The only thing right now is that I wonder if my pitot heat is on. You would have thought I'd turned that on at the beginning, but I actually need to learn where that's on. But I've got the flight, I've got my my flight engineer on it, the AFE. So if it's too cold outside, I'm sure he would know that, and he would turn that on for me. So I'm tracking, let's see, 72 nautical miles, 71 nautical miles, yeah. Current speed is 164 knots, and we're estimating roughly half an hour to track to the coast. So that's all good. Which is actually roughly connects ETA to next waypoint 70 nautical miles, and that's pretty much exactly what we're seeing there as well. Okay, we're pretty much on that radial now, so let's just bring the nose to the left. I should pick a random IFR video of yours and count the amount you say radial and going manual. Yeah? You'd be a rich man if I paid you a penny for every time I said radial on all my YouTube videos. Alright, let's call it there. Climbing through 8,500 feet. So, yeah, we're climbing pretty well in this, actually. A lot better than we have any time previously. Alright, so we are pretty much set on that course now. Climbing nicely. Let's just have a look for the pitot heat while we're here. Fuel, cabin, prop de-icer. Let's turn that bad boy on. It's cold up here. Well, actually, no. We're above the we're above most of the moisture now, so it shouldn't be too bad. But do we have an outside air temperature? I see cylinder head temperatures are looking lovely and dandy. Water pressure, flap position, water pressure, carburetor. There you go. Carb air temperature is. Oh my goodness. Yes, that's cold. Carburetor air temperature is cold. Wow, that's like 20 below zero, and we're not even at 10,000 feet yet. Yeah, free air temperature is -10 degrees Celsius. And the carburetor air temperature is lower than the free air temperature. I think that's due to suction. I think the lower temperature is due to the fact that at the carburetor. No, Eric, I'm okay. Folks in the chat, let's have a bit of a question time. Why would the carb air temperature be lower than the free air temperature? I was just about to say it's because the action of sucking air into the carburetor, that there's a lower pressure at that point, and the lower pressure pulls the temperature down. Seatbelts off, smoking off, because we're above 10,000 feet, so they can smoke up a storm. If you feel up for the task, can you explain how to fly a radial in those old aircraft like the dual RMI, trying to get the B377 to do it? If you're trying to fly with radials in the B377, actually, I don't think, it's been a while since I've flown the B377, so I'd need to refresh myself for 10 minutes on the interior of the cockpit. But it's fuel vaporization and Venturi effect. Okay, right. You've given me the exact reasons why that is lower than the free air temperature, which is fantastic. Thank you, Redcliffe. The Venturi effect. I feel I've learnt about the Venturi effect before, but to my mind right now I can't. Yeah, make sure I'm on my radial. Venturi effect. Venturi effect is the reduction in fluid pressure that results when a fluid flows through a constricted section or choke of a pipe. The Venturi effect is named after blah 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 blah, an Italian physicist. Right. So the Venturi effect is the reduction in fluid pressure that results when a fluid flows through a constricted section. Yeah. So there's a difference in pressure. So I'm thinking, say in the large area of the pipe, there's one pressure, but flowing through that narrower section, there's a greater pressure. And then as soon as it comes out into the lower pressure again, it's a lower pressure. So where air and liquid is at a higher pressure, the temperature can be higher or is higher, and where air is expanded into a lower pressure, the temperature drops. I think that, to my basic mind, is that's the drop of pressure due to that. So I'm on the right track. Good stuff. Good stuff. You can lose 20 to 30 degrees of Celsius. I think fuel vaporization is the predominant effect, though. Fuel vaporization drops the temperature. That's interesting. That doesn't make sense to me, but I'm just going to Google fuel vaporization now. No, not evaporation. Vaporization. Why does fuel vaporization in a carburetor? This looks like the right thing. Cause the temperature decrease rather than a rise? Good question. There's two parts to that answer. The first part is the ideal gas law. The formula, blah, 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 blah. We're not interested in formulas on this channel, sorry. The second part is the latent heat of vaporization. In order for a liquid to change state and become a gas, a certain amount of heat is required. Consider a firefighter spraying water on a fire. The liquid water is heated by the fire and evaporates into steam. The energy of the fire is decreased by the amount of energy that went into the steam and which is now floating away into the atmosphere. I never knew that. I never knew that. That's a good reason why you should, well, there are certain things you throw on certain kinds of fires, but that's one of the that's one of the chemical reasons that water is good for throwing on a fire. Now replace the fire with your carburetor and replace the water with fuel. The heat energy in your carburetor is transferred to the fuel in order to cause it to vaporize. The fuel gets hotter, but who cares? It's about to get burned into the cylinders anyway, and the carburetor gets colder. Cool. Cool. You see, we learned something today, guys. We learned something together. Hi, Flight Simmer 101. Good to see you. Right, that's so cool. So, oh my goodness, my carb air has now gone down to about negative, I'd call that negative 36, about negative 36 Celsius. And the free air temperature has dropped to about 25, 26, negative 25, 26 degrees, which is cold. That is cold for only being 14,000 feet. And actually I realized this flight is going to be a bit longer than what I anticipated if this is how far I've got in this space of time. That was a ridiculous thing to think it would take that amount of time. Well. For the Venturi part, you can basically think that in order for the air to be able to pass through the restricted area, the air pressure needs to decrease. Surely for air to pass into a restricted space, the air pressure increases, not decreases, because it's being squashed. Oh, I need to put on oxygen. DC-6. Comes back. I always forget that when I go through 15,000 feet. That's correct. The pressure drops when the air takes up speed in the reduced part. The same reason why it's colder at altitude compared to on the ground. Right, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense that it's colder when the air pressure is less, but still, when I'm visualizing a tube that gets narrower and narrower, as the air is traveling into that tube, surely the pressure would increase as it's being forced into a smaller space, and therefore the temperature would be increasing. But yes, total pressure equals static P and dynamic P. See, mate, you're starting to throw technical words and equations at me, which I start to lose. So if the Venturi, the static pressure decreases. So in the Venturi, the static pressure decreases, so the dynamic pressure has to increase. Okay, what's the difference? What is it you're talking about when you talk about static pressure and dynamic pressure? Is static pressure just... static pressure is just the pressure of it in its static state. So when pressure is just sitting there and nothing's happening to it, it's static. But dynamic pressure, I'm assuming dynamic pressure is where the pressure bubble is moving from one state to another. Oh, I'm getting so technical here. Nice view out the window. Haven't picked up our VOR across the water, but that's okay because it's quite far. We're holding our radial very nicely. I'm very happy about that. Well, relatively well. Let's just go show the range of that. The range of that VOR should be coming in now, so we should see our nav2 needle bounce into action fairly soon. Let's just make a little correction to our course. Let's do that. Should be good. 17,000 feet. We're going to level off at 20,000 feet and hit cruise at that point. Dynamic pressure equals pressure caused by movement. Yes, right. Okay, so if let's call it an area of pressure or a pressure bubble. If it's moving location from one place to another, there are outside forces that can change it or influence it, and it has to change from one state to another if it moves from one location to another into a different environmental factors. So that would make it dynamic because it's having to change itself. Static pressure, so in the thin part of the Venturi, the pressure will decrease, causing... See, what you say there just makes no sense. So in the thin part of the Venturi, the pressure will decrease, causing the decrease in temperature, and the speed of the airflow, called dynamic pressure, will increase. I'm sorry, that makes no sense to me. Since the Bernoulli's law stated that total pressure, which is static pressure plus dynamic pressure, is always constant along the Venturi. Right, okay. Haven't read up on this for years, but I think that's about the basics. Okay, so... total pressure doesn't change. I get that, because it's a closed system, right? So if the Venturi is a closed system, the pressure inside, the total pressure, dynamic plus static, doesn't change. It's a closed system, correct. But I don't get the fact that It's depending how I'm reading it here. So the thin part of the Venturi, the pressure will decrease. Surely there's less space in the narrow section. So for air to for air to flow through it, for air to flow through the narrow gap, it would have to increase itself to get through, because it's being compressed, right? That is what my mind is trying to tell me. But you're saying something different, so I'm confused. I'm gonna have to read up on this myself as well. No, that's really interesting though, that we had this conversation just based on looking at the temperatures. It's pretty cold out there. What temperatures is it now? It's still negative 36 degrees Celsius outside. Ooh, that's cold. Anyway, anyone else who feels like they want to weigh in on the conversation, please do. Please do, please do. So we are 24 nautical miles and closing from our waypoint. And we're tracking it quite well. We've got an 11 knot crosswind, which is fine. 11 knots is really nothing in comparison to what I'm used to. I'm used to crossing the pond in one of these aircraft and you've got like 115 knot headwind, which is ridiculous. Let's see what's going on up here. Cockpit flood. Oh. If I turn that on. Ah! Yes. That's good. There's more. Good. Cockpit temperature. It's going to be pretty cold in here, so I want to warm it up. Windshield heat and radome anti-icing. Yes. Ah, it actually gives you. It should be on this setting when it's 10 to 0, and this setting from 0 to negative 40, which is what it is. Yes. So that's good. But I had never heard about fuel vaporizing causing the carburetor temp to decrease, so that was interesting. Yeah. No, you know, when you're in your 737 tomorrow morning, flying along, you can impress your captain with your new knowledge, Eric, and you can tell him that you got it from me. So there's that, you know. You know. Just looking up at the roof here. Auto feather test. I love how the DC-6, there are just random switches everywhere. It's like it's very haphazard in their design. It's quite beautiful. It's quite beautiful. Let's see how many miles away. 18 nautical miles away. Okay, so we're coming up on flight level 200. Let's actually set standby QNH before we hit our cruise, which is 29092, I think. Does it have a... No, it doesn't. Nope. The other way. 29092 inches. And we're coming up on 20,000 feet, so let's get ready to level out. Let's just decrease our rate of ascent just so we can hit that target smoother. Okay. We're tracking our radials, so we're coming off to the left-hand side, so let's just hitch a right slightly. Like so, that should be enough. I like how I can see the Milky Way out the window, that's pretty cool. You wouldn't be able to see it with your naked eye though. I don't think. Well, can you? Yes, you can. You can see the Milky Way with your naked eye. But what with the cockpit lights in here, you wouldn't be able to see. You have to turn them all off. Eric, have you ever seen the Milky Way out of the front cockpit window of the 737 before in real life? I need to head off to bed now. Off to Lanzarote early tomorrow. Speak to you soon. Yes, mate. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing your wisdoms. Have a safe flight tomorrow and have a good sleep. You should be able to watch the remainder of this video on the the remainder of this stream, Eric. You should be able to watch later on my YouTube channel if you so desire. If you just want to come back and watch the landing later on, just for the lols. I mean, we're landing in Sweden, so anything could happen. So you know. Good evening from the Netherlands once again. Hello, Vince Mass. Good evening, sir. Good to have you on the stream. We are 11.4 nautical miles away from our VOR and closing. So once we hit that VOR, we should be able to see the VOR needle flip round, and then we will track inbound to our Swedish VOR, which let me just grab the heading as 326 for that. So that's 326. So we're going to track 326 as soon as we hit. We've only got 10 nautical miles to go. So, oh no, we blew through our cruise. Which actually no, that's okay because we can descend and gain speed. Let's just descend to 20,000 feet and gain some speed, so that we can cruise.
Set cruise power, please. Setting cruise power.
Okay, he's setting cruise power. Gold not, Eric? I'm not fully sure how you pronounce that or how that sounds, but
Cruise power is set.
cruise power set. I know Gumorn, so that might be Gunot, Gumorn, Gunot.
Cruise checks are complete.
Right, 20,000 set. So we're going to cruise at that. Like so. We're just hitting 160 knots, which is lovely. And there we are, cruising nicely. We've not got the engine flames anymore, which makes me sad. That would be interesting to figure out why we're not seeing those engine flames. It's probably because we're not running the engines so hard now. That's probably what it is. That lovely glow. Those lights are really well done. Right, okay, so you can see the radial. As we get close, the radial has spazzed out, but that's fine because we know we're heading in the right direction. Okay, so you can see that needle starting to flicker a little bit, and that's because as we're getting so close, it's getting more agitated and it's getting more sensitive. So we're gonna hit about 1 nautical miles, and then we're going to track to the right hand side. Sevi, how are you setting your course for radials in the DC-6? Good question. So I've got the autopilot set. Actually, I can show this to you right now. So we're actually going overhead our radial. Bam. Okay. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to flip nav 1 to nav 2. Actually, no, 1630. Okay, so right down here on the central radio column, or comm stack, it's not really a comm stack, we've got the autopilot engage is a lever down here. We've got the gyro pilot engage, which is here, the altitude control, which is here, and this is the turn knob. So if I right click it, it turns right. If I left click it, it turns left. So I've just turned that knob to the right, and that gives me a right bank. So I'm gonna, and it holds that bank for me constantly. and it holds my altitude at the same time because I have altitude hold engaged. So that's what the autopilot's doing for me. I'm continuing this bank until my nav1 course comes right the way to the top. I've got to put 326 in there as well. I want to head to 326. And now I center the turn indicator knob by pressing that white space in between these two lights, and that centers it perfectly for me. And then that will bring the aircraft onto wings level. And I've just overshot that ever so slightly, so I'm going to turn to the left slightly, and we're going to bank to the left. And so we're just going to bank to the left so that we can attack that radial, like so. So that we're going to fly onto that radial. So I need to watch that needle. And as it comes onto central, then I marry up the needle to the top position. We've got 161 nautical miles to run on this leg, but we are currently going 231 knots. So that's correct. Your question earlier about the PMDG, no, about the Boeing 377 Stratocruiser. You can track VORs in the Stratocruiser, but you cannot track the radials from the VORs, which causes problems. But in fairness, the Stratocruiser was never. The Stratocruiser was built more for long haul over the ocean where they don't actually have radials in the first place. So, yeah. Which is sad, but there you go. Three, 326, correct. Slowly coming onto that radial. Do you also fly on IVAO, or have you ever flown on it? I've tried to fly on IVAO once or twice, Vince. My experience of IVAO is not good. I've tried it recently, and it's just so full of issues and bugginess things that I don't have the time to fix. So, yeah. I would like to fly on it because the audio quality is so much better than VATSIM's, but I just can't bring myself to spend the amount of time tweaking it so that it actually works as good as VATSIM works. I had this weird thing where when I first logged in, I got IVAO MTL all set up and everything, and I logged in, and the aircraft were invisible. The AI aircraft in the sim, they were invisible, but they became visible when they taxied further away from me. So, and I googled that online, and it's just like, yeah. Is the Connie system more like the B377 or the DC-6? Thinking of getting it, but I want to be able to make radials for stars. Okay, yes. This is a good question, Sebi. The DC-6 is more similar to the Connie in that you can track radials from VORs, you can track NDBs, you can track DMEs, you can track your ADF works properly. The Boeing 377 Stratocruiser, it doesn't have the ability to track radials. Last time I checked. Yeah, that's correct. It doesn't have the ability to track radials, but it has an altitude hold, whereas the Constellation doesn't have altitude hold. Which for me, I mean, it's a bit of a deal. It was not a deal breaker, but it's a bit of an issue because like you're trying to do a long haul flight, and it's like if you were watching me yesterday flying across Australia, you just have to sit there and tweak it all the time. It's like, yeah. But the Connie system is similar to the DC-6 in that I believe they're both Sperry autopilot systems, or they are gyro autopilots. So the autopilot works off of a gyro that's spinning, that tells the autopilot what is up, down, left, and right. Yeah. Oop. So. Okay, so the thing I found with the DC-6 is descending takes a long time. Oh my goodness, where am I going? Okay. Well, I suppose I'm on the radial now. It says I'm on the radial right now, so... Right. Okay, so the 326 radial. Let's just go show radial 326 inbound 200 nautical miles. Okay, 199. Bam. Okay, that's the radial we're trying to get onto, not the black line. So actually, no, I was correct there in... I have some issues with IVAO as well. I managed to fix them all. Problems mainly have to do with editing your sim config file. Right, okay. In my case, Vince, I don't want to touch my sim config file. I like my sim config file the way it is right now. I like my setup as it is. I don't want to mess things around because this has been a clean install. This has been a clean install of Windows 10. This is a clean install of P3D version 4.1, and I've been very careful not to install anything into P3D version 4.1 that is not compatible with 4.1. So, as far as I am concerned, this is a stable build, and I want to keep it that way. And so if I start messing around with things, I'm just... if I can live with VATSIM until VATSIM update their audio codecs, then I'll live with it. I think also the issue is that once you start installing so many things on one system, it just gets a bit cluttered. So. Yes, but the audio codecs need updating. Okay, there we go. Just double checking that it's flattening out properly. It takes its time to sit and flatten out, actually. What is that secondary? Oh, that's an ADF. Okay. So if I tracked, say for instance, so that's the radial I'm gradually coming onto. So if I just track a random NDB, say Burger, which is 407. Let's go up to put that in here. Oh. No, well, we're not in range of it yet. That's probably why. If I just right click and go NDB range, yeah, we're easily. We're nowhere near in range of that. So let's not worry about that right now. But yeah, so yeah, we're pretty much set. 124 nautical miles left to run, and they're estimating that in half an hour, which is fine. What I'm going to do, guys, so I'm going to pause track IR, and I'm going to go and make some decaf tea. Don't go anywhere. We've got half an hour left to run, and actually, when I get back from making my tea, let's just make a small course correction before I go away for tea. Yeah, I can see the radials coming out ever so slightly. Bam. Right. When I come back from making tea in about 4 or 5 minutes, we will begin descending. Well, okay. Let's give it until. Let's give it another 60 nautical miles before we begin our descent. I'd say that's fair. All right. Show me external view. Yes, I will do. Actually, I can do better than that. I can... let's just double check that my lights are all off. Yes, that's correct. I will do the external... well, it's not really... it's kind of dark, basically. Hello, Periot. Good to see you again. I'm just about to go make some tea, but I'm going to leave the cinematography camera add-on thing, whatever it's called. This cinematic mode. There you go. I'm going to leave the cinematic mode on while I go make some tea, and I will be back in 2 shakes of a dead lamb's tail, as they say. So let's just go put my tea, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, I am back. Got my tea rations mug. Dad's Army. For emergency uses only. Okay, just under 100 nautical miles to our destination, our next waypoint. Oh, we've blown through. Oh, the wind changed 180 degrees since I went to get my tea. Wow. In about 20 to 30 nautical miles, we'll begin our descent. Here we are. What is the destination tonight, Perriot? Yes, destination, as you can see, I'm up in the Scandinavian, well, Baltic Sea region. Currently flying over the Baltic region, Baltic Sea at the moment from Riga in Latvia up to Stockholm in Sweden. And I'm getting close to top of descent right now, so. Just looking at what the other Easy 475, Efra, Amsterdam, SS. Ah, Maddox. Boeing 717. So, it's not the Boeing 717. Oh, dash 200 maybe it is, yeah. Boeing 717-200. 717-200. He's got the wrong image. No? Oh, no, maybe he does. No, that looks too long to be a 200 version. Anyway. Oh, someone's flying a Nordic Dash 8. Very nice. Anyway, let's concentrate on what we're about here. Yes, we still need to get back onto that radial. We are gradually. Only six knot crosswind though. Nice photo of your project for your Project Fly plane. Well, Sevi, I feel it's only right and proper with all of my Project Fly aircraft to have real life photos. I don't do sim photos for my aircraft. So if you go see Fleet, so for my aircraft, particularly the vintage ones, you see the vintage Constellation Boeck. You've got the Boeck, old black and white Boeck livery. Qantas you do, for the British Eagle you do. Actually, so I lied. That's no, yeah. There's a couple aircraft that I've been lazy about and put sim pictures with that don't have real life versions. But yeah, so the Heron Dove Boeck regional aircraft. That's the one I'm flying right now. I've got the KLM DC-6, FedEx, United, UPS. These are my aircraft in Project Fly. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to when FS Labs release the A321 and the A319. I'd really look forward to that. I'm just going to refresh this. Better. Cool. Right. Let's just sit down properly here. I think that's cloud. I think that's clouds below me. I can see. Yeah. Yeah, 77 nautical miles. So I'll give it. Actually, I'll begin my descent now. I think I will because it's only roughly 100 nautical miles away from landing, so seatbelts on, no smoking on. Let's pull out our altitude control. And when pulling out our altitude control, let's now go descent. And he's going to pull it back from 31 to 26, and that's going to mean we begin descending.
26 inches set. Descent checklist, please. Altimeters and flight instruments cross-checked.
Seems there is an event in Finland on IBAO. Yeah, there's an event on VATSIM as well. If I go to VATSIM, I think it's the fly into Santa's Grotto event, and this happens every year, everyone is flying into to Romanev and Mini, wherever that is. Look at the aircraft in the stack. Tromso's on full. This is like the only time of the year that you ever see Tromso with full ATC coverage. That's beautiful. I wish places like that would have full ATC coverage more often. And Svalbard up there, so lonely. Poor Svalbard. I feel bad for Svalbard. It gets very little coverage these days. Yeah, so we're descending 150 feet per minute, which really is nothing at all. So let's just increase our rate of descent, which will increase our speed, but that's just the way it is. There we go, so we're about 750, negative 750 per minute, roughly. 5, 6, yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Yes. One day I'll try fly to Bergen-Narvik trip. Yeah, it's beautiful scenery up there. I would do that. I actually have Bergen and Narvik actually, so If you ever want to do that on VATSIM as a group flight, Perriot, let me know. Send me a message on Facebook. And whenever you want to do that, ask me, and if I have free time, we can schedule and do that together. That'd be fun. Do that in Cessnas or something. In winter, it could be interesting. Yeah, it could be. What with so little daylight. Yeah, and the weather might be very interesting as well. Okay, so let's just continue our rate of descent. So 15 minutes to the VOR. 9 people watching. Folks who are watching right now, please say hello in the chat just so I can see who's here. And I do these live streams to be able to like connect with you guys, so feel free to say hello. Few updates though. I'm on IVO, sorry mate. Oh yeah, no worries. Oh, I see, right. Well, if I could get IVAO working properly, I would join you gladly. Maybe I should give it another go sometime next week, actually. Hello, Vince Mass. Yes. Little update, guys, on life in general. I'm going to have a fair amount of time next week. I'm going to try and dig into the next PPL video for the PPL training series. I've kind of neglected that for a long time because I've had all sorts of freelance. I've had work related stress that has really meant that I just have needed to take some time off staring at a computer all day long. But yes, I've got some time this week, coming next week, that I should be able to devote to the PPL training video. Hello, Mark Dyson. Mark Dyson. That's are you of the Dysons, or are you of just the Dysons? Do you need any help with IVAO? Well, I can connect to IVAO, but my problem is that the aircraft go invisible when they taxi close to me, and it's just so maybe next week if we could both connect together on IVAO and sit and chat to one another, that would be really, really helpful, Vince. I would really value that if that's some maybe practical help you could give me. That would be great, because it means I could fly on a multiplayer network that had voice codecs where you could actually hear people who were talking to you. You know. Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, keep it in mind, Perriot. I'm sure there's some dates we could come up together with. Maybe we could fly. Maybe you could fly with. We could do shared cockpit. That'd be really cool. I know you can do shared cockpit easily in the default Cessna. If we'd want to fly in the default Cessna is another question. I haven't flown in that in years because I've had the A2A Cessna, but Aussie Dysons. Ah, very good, very good. I just meant Mark Dyson because I don't know if you have it in Australia, but in England we have these vacuum cleaners, or in England we call them hoovers, but we have these vacuum cleaners, the Dyson brand, and they do all sorts of other things as well, but they have these really nice Cyclone Cyclone vacuum cleaners, and they were the first ones to do the Cyclone technology stuff, so they're quite famous here. So I saw your name and I was like, are you one of the Dysons? Or how can I contact you for help with IVAO? Do you have Facebook, Vince, perchance? I've got my Mantok Productions Facebook page. If not, we could contact each other through Skype. That would work as well. Okay, 16,000 feet. And still descending. We've got 11 minutes to our... Yeah, we need to be descending quicker. Let's hit 1,000 feet per minute. No, nope, I have Skype and Discord. I'm on Discord. I'm on Discord. What am I on Discord? Mantok. I'm just simply Mantok on Discord. I'll type my name on Discord to you. There, I just typed it in the chat there for you. So, yeah, just friend me on Discord on that username, and I should be able to find you. So, oh, we're slightly off radial now. Wind has turned around slightly. DC-6 is nice. One thing I haven't really ever used is this level change button, which I'm not 100% sure. It could cycle. Actually, it's not level change, it's LH cycle. Which could be like right. Well, it's LH for left and RH for right, so it's something to do, could be something to do with the fire suppression system. You should have a Discord channel for your YouTube. Yes. Actually, why don't I just set that up now? Discord. Why don't I just set that up now while I'm descending? That's a good thing to do. Right. How do I set up my own channel? That's the question. Oh, create a server. Server region, it's going to be UK. I'm just going to say Central Europe. Sounds good. Choose icon. I'm not going to choose my icon yet because it's on my external hard drive, but I will do that soon. Create. Sorted. Send this handy link to your friends to grant them access. Hidden. Use copy button. What is your Discord number? Oh, copy. Okay. Copy. And then if I put that in my YouTube... if I put that in my chat... Right, that is the link to my Discord channel. Yeah, cool. So that's the link to my Discord channel. Whoever's online at the moment. Yes, okay. Sev, you're in. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me, Sev, in Discord? Can you hear my audio there in Discord right now? Just got to pay attention to what I'm doing here. Right, coming down through 12,000 feet. Let's just resync my altimeter. Okay, because of the wind, let's just double check where I am. Okay, I'm going to come in runway 01 right, which is 10935. Set. Yep, that's me. Oh, let me join the channel. It shows your microphone is muted. How do I unmute your microphone? I can hear you now. I'm muted, not you. Okay. How do I unmute you? I've literally never used this. Ah! I've literally never used this before, but this is pretty intuitive, so... Ooh! 377 engines roaring away. Very nice. I don't know how to unmute you. Are you sure you've not muted yourself? Okay, coming down through 10,000 feet. I have muted myself. Oh, okay. Alright, if you want to chat to me, just let me know. Anyone else, feel free just to come in and join me and chat to me in Discord. Coming down through 9,500. So I've just increased my rate of descent about 750 feet per minute. And I'm sitting comfortably at about 230 knots. No, well, 250 knots ground speed in the with 11 nautical miles to go. And I want to track inbound Stockholm, which is 116. Like so. And that is a 253. Coming down through 8,000. Oh!
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Do you read me?
Yeah.
This is Vince Maas. Oh, the guy from the IVO.
Yeah.
You read me all right?
Yeah, can hear you well, thank you.
Okay, great.
So you're flying the Boeing 377 at the moment?
No, I'm not flying currently. I'm mostly flying the ATP Constellation T6 and Aerosoft CRJ.
Ah, lovely. Lovely.
So, yeah.
And besides Eric, I think you are the first person to feature on my YouTube channel. So, congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. Let's see, 13 people on the live stream at the moment. So, what is your favorite aircraft, Vince?
My favorite is like a full flight sim or in general?
For flight sim.
Well, I don't have that many add-ons for flight sim yet, but ooh, that's difficult. It's hard. I think I'll have to go with the Constellation. Because, well, I can do a bit of everything. Like you can fly like like a GA aircraft or an airliner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something different than most people fly on online networks like IVAO, etc.
Right. Yeah. Doing a hard left-hand turn onto my new radial. There we go. It's going to be interesting landing in such lighting.
Yeah, it's always a bit difficult with those basic ILS systems in those old aircraft.
So we've got 3,000 feet to go, and actually, yeah, no, I think my descent was pretty much spot on, which is good. Okay, ILS 01 right, 10935 is in standby nav 1, so ready with that. And what I'm going to do is with 109 right, that is localizer of 007, so I'm going to put that in now. There we go. Right. So what I've done, folks, is I've got it so that I've got my nav 1 in my nav 1 standby is the localizer. My nav 1 active is Stockholm, as you can see. So I'm flying offset from the radial now, or the VOR. So I'm going to fly down to the end of the ILS, and when I see the ILS needle moving, well, I won't actually because it's in standby, but when I get to say, let's say, QDM range and bearing, when I get to about 10 nautical miles with the VOR off my 9 o'clock position, I know I'll be in this general area to turn on to the ILS. So 10 nautical miles at 3 o'clock. So I wait until the needle swings around to my 3 o'clock position and 10 nautical miles on the DME readout, and that'll be my time to turn onto the radial, onto the localizer. I like how with VOR and DME and NDB navigation you can mix and match your different navigational points, and you can say to yourself, okay, I know if I'm such and such a distance away from this VOR and such a distance away from that VOR, I'll be in this exact position. So from there I can then go to here, and then from here I can work out that I can get from here to there, and it's like you can work it all out and fly in the pitch black darkness without using a GPS, which is great. All using ground-based navigation. Okay, so we're coming down through 4,000 feet. We've got roughly 1,500 feet to go. So what we'll do is we will flatten out our descent rate so that we can slow down, because currently we're going quite fast. Yeah, we're going to need to make... Yeah. We're going to go from in range now.
Normal. Fuel booster pumps. On low. Fuel tank selectors. Lanes on.
Landing lights coming on.
Hydraulic bypass belt. Down. No smoking signs. On.
God, it's so foggy right now. Okay, continuing down through 4,000 feet. And we're getting close to... Getting close now. But there's a long 19 knot crosswind, 20 knot crosswind down here. Okay. I see how it is. Let's go 348 on that ADF. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting really close now. Still a little bit too fast. So what's our RPM? Is it 20? Okay, switching over to my localizer now. I'm above the glide slope, which is not good. So I might actually just... Right, going manual. So at this point I'm just going to make a left-hand turn, and I'm going to turn away from the localizer, and I'm going to come back around whenever I have configured with a better speed, whenever I've got a slower speed. Don't want to go below 3,000 at this point. So once we get to 3,000 we can level out, and we can then slow down. There we go. Really test your skills to fly with no outside references at all. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to start my turn around again. About as steep as I want to bank at this point. Oh, no, I looked away for a second and I lost it. I'm going to be really careful with my rate of descent and ascent right now. At least I'm holding 3,000 relatively well. Oh, right, okay, so there's the ground. Very nice. Okay, there's the localizer. So I know I'm roughly in the right position. That's good before landing checklist.
Climbs 20.
Okay. Okay, trim, 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 trim. Okay.
Gear down and locked, 3 greens, props, 2400 RPM.
We're about where we want to be.
2400 RPM set. Cal flaps. Plus 3
Except I
degrees.
screwed up the localizer.
Cal flaps set.
It's so hard to do everything at
ADI
once.
off. ADI is off. Landing lights. Speed good, extending lights. Lights extended and on. RB. Calming cold, set cold. Before landing checks complete.
Okay. We're just about where I want to be, except we're a bit too low now. Okay, there's the runway lights way ahead of me. Outer marker. Okay, here we go. Flaps down. Wow, the visibility is bad. We're in a good place. How are we doing in the chat? Doing well? Good. Wow, that runway just comes and goes. Like it's... I know I'm really close to it, but it's... the visibility is so bad. I love Scandinavia in winter. The weather just does not care. I mean, the weather in England doesn't care either, but it cares a little bit more than it does in Scandinavia. And look how that mist just dropped away as I came down through the layer. Beautiful. And I'm pretty much bang on the money now, which is good. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. It could have gone badly. Still a little bit low, Just gotta remember to keep my power in. Keep great memories from Scandinavian weather. Yeah. Yeah, Scandinavian weather. What is this saying they have in Scandinavia? It's there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad cleather or clothes. No such thing as bad weather, only bad clothes. It's good saying. Okay, my frame rates are now in the toilet, and I'm slightly too high on the localizer now, so let's just nose it down and cut the throttle a little bit. And we haven't even discussed Dutch weather yet. Yeah. Dutch weather's got to be crazy, because you're in the middle of, you know, you're on the coast, but you've got England across the channel, and you've got everything everywhere. Oh, don't want to get too low now. Yep, we just blew back down through the glide slope. It's because I'm reading your comments on final approach. Is not a good idea. Okay. Who wants to guess what the my touchdown rate's going to be? So put your guess in the chat, and when everyone has submitted their guess to my touchdown rate, I will then pull it up on the screen. Oh, touchdown. I'm guessing that was about 150. About 150-ish. The touchdown rate. I'm guessing. We'll see. Flaps up. Let's just bring on the after landing checklist. And the frame rate's cleared up just in time for me to make my nice landing. So, yeah, negative 100, negative 89. Guessing negative 69. I think negative 69 is going to be a little bit too shallow there, Sevi, but you never know. You never know. I think that the DC-6 I found is deceptively smooth. It feels deceptively smooth when you touch down. You don't have any of those louder touchdown crunchy noises that other add-ons give you. So the feedback that you sense on the screen and in your ears is not quite the same as other add-ons. Really nice approach though. I really liked that approach nonetheless. It felt smooth. I mean, I blew around on the localizer and the glide slope a bit all the time, but that's just me not having the experience flying in IMC conditions, looking at gauges and flying manually, you know. So what we're going to do is taxi along. Let's go ESA. Ah, there's lots more people in the chat now. Good stuff. Or lots more people in Discord.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, my fellow minions in Discord.
It is I, Sev.
Very nice. Very nice. So I'm assuming you just turned off the audio from my stream so that you, rather than listen to two voices.
Indeed. And I can now fly and listen, which is good.
Cool. Right, so one thing I do need to do is turn my position light from flashing to steady.
Hello.
Hello. And that is whose voice is that? Is it Perriott that just spoke there, or Vince?
Yeah.
Yes, it was Perriott. Okay, cool. Hello, Desert Eagle. Welcome to the chat. Desert Eagle, if you're joining now, you're joining a little bit late, but feel free to join in the Discord just for the debriefing as we taxi to the stand. I can hear a constant squeak. My gears are making a constant squeak noise, which makes me think I've got some brake engaged, but it's not engaged. It's just DC-6 is old and fat and slow. Let's get myself... no, I need a taxi chart. Thank you. Let's see where... Airport, there we go. Zoom in. Okay, so we're taxiing along Whiskey currently, and we'll take a hotel apron probably. What are you doing, Desert Eagle? I'm flying the PMDG DC-6 from Riga in Latvia all the way over to Stockholm in Sweden. It's the Scandinavian DC-6 livery. It's been a really nice flight. I was going to fly on VATSIM, but then the VATSIM ground controller in Riga wasn't very accommodating. He basically said you can't fly a DC-6 with VOR to VOR navigation. But I think there was a bit of miscommunication between us both, so that's no problem. But it was nice anyway just to get to know the DC-6 a bit more, get some more experience with it, get just more familiar with it. I think add-on familiarization is really important when you're trying to do it properly on VATSIM with all of the bells and whistles attached, or else you'll just get frustrated and then just get discouraged. So, are you landing or taking off? I'm landing, Desert Eagle, so I'm afraid you've missed most of the stream, but you will be able to watch this video on my YouTube channel after I finish streaming this evening. It's going to be made as a live video on YouTube, so you have the option of watching it then. Okay, where is this? Where is this? I'm gonna come on. Okay, that's Zulu cuneiform. Zulu cuneiform? Cuneiform? That is an ancient dead language. That is not part of the alphabet. What is it? The something alphabet? Phonic alphabet? Phonic alphabet?
Phonetic.
Phonetic. There you go. Thank you. See, someone did their homework. Right. Almost on stand now. Let's just check if I screwed my engines up or not. No, apparently I didn't screw my engines up. I'm quite surprised at myself. I usually really screw up the DC-6 engines whenever I take manual control of the engine management. I will should be fun. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I really enjoyed the weather on this trip. It's been pretty much from the moment I took off to the moment I landed, I had absolutely no visual contact with the ground whatsoever. And of course I've got Plan G, which basically looks a bit like a... it's kind of... I think Plan G's cheating in a way, because it's you're able to see a map of where you are, like anywhere, at any time. So... Okay, he's going to cut engines for me. Engine 3 is coming down. Engine 4 is coming down. Engine 1 is down, and engine 2 is finally coming down. Okay. So at this point, what we've got to do now is just bring out the wheel chocks, pitot covers, engine oil pans, mechanic stands. Let's open the doors. And there we have it, folks. Thank you very much for joining me on the DC-6 flight from Latvia to Sweden in the vintage DC-6 with Scandinavian Airlines. Oh, that's cool. He's got little lights going on there. Yeah, so nice looking lighting here in Sweden. I must do some more Scandinavian flying. I do like it. Okay, so let's finally have a look at what that touchdown rate was. It was negative 161 feet per minute. So I initially guessed 150, so 161 slightly harder. But the DC-6, the PMDG DC-6, like I say, it is a bit deceptive. It fools you into thinking you have softer landings than you actually do, because the audio cues are not as great as other add-ons, and yeah, so and visually it doesn't look as rough when you come down. So let's just hit complete on that flight plan. So I've done that flight, and let's just pause my track IR. I'm quite tired now. Parry it with moderation, of course. Yeah. Right. So thank you very much for watching, guys. It's been a really nice flight. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to stop the stream, so that it will then be saved on my YouTube channel as a video, so that people can watch. So, and for those of you in the Discord channel, feel free to talk to me a bit afterwards. I'm going to hang around for another 5 minutes before I kick off for the evening. And yeah, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time, folks. Bye.